Ready? Is she coming? Okay. Did she go through? Maybe I had it on mute. Did she go through? Did you guys see her say that about recording?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. I must have had it on mute. Perfect. Okay. So today was a tiny bit crazy for those of us in the network marketing world and for billions of others who truly rely on social selling. And so I figured we needed to do something to kind of make light of the day. So we're going to do a giveaway. Everybody grab a pen and paper. Everybody have their pen and paper. I am going to write a number on here and I'm going to count to 3. And when I count to 3, at the end of 3, you guys hold up your paper with the number that you think I'm going to choose. It's between 1 and 100. The person closest to my number will win these super cute health and happiness little cute bracelets. They say Plexus, healthy, happy. If you are not muted, go ahead and do that. For some reason, it doesn't always mute everybody. So if you're just jumping on, grab a pen and a paper. I'm going to write a number between 1 and 100. I'm going to count to 3. And at the end of 3, you guys are going to hold up your number. And we do have quite a few people on here. So give me a minute to figure out who wins. But whoever's closest is going to get these in the mail in the next few days for me. Okay, you guys ready? You can't see, right? Okay, you ready? On the count of 3, hold up your pen, your paper. 1, 2, 3, and keep them up. Here's my number. Oh, I can't see with you guys on your phones. Okay, I have 44. Who is the closest to me?
I have 44.
Shut up. Yay! Woohoo! Okay, I'm assuming that was Jamie Morris. I heard a voice. Was that Jamie?
Yeah, that was me.
Okay.
That was me.
This will be in the mail for you. Yay! That's fun. Well, thank you guys for showing up tonight after kind of a crazy day with social media. I am so excited for us to hear from one of my dearest friends. But before we start with the intro of Meg, I wanted to share something with you guys because, for this month, we are focusing. I shared this yesterday, again, with the craziness. You may not have seen it yesterday, but your Jewel leaders got together and have been brainstorming. What does our team need? Where's our team struggling? And so we kind of made out a list of all the things that we feel like could use some help. Not that you guys aren't amazing. You guys are doing incredible. But I know that this is what we hear from a lot of people of struggling with posting, struggling with messaging authentically, all the things. So we made out a list. And so this entire month, Monday through Friday of each week, we are going to have specific topic focused challenges. So this week is on posting. Again, today, the poster was Carrie Compton. She did an amazing thing. You may not have seen it yet. If you haven't, go and take a look at Rising Jewels. It's #day1, #posting101. So this whole week is on posting. Every morning, you're going to have a Jewel leader post something that is going to be inspirational for you to use for your Plexus posting benefit. Just educating you in that. Next week is going to be on building relationships, engagement, and mindset. The week following is going to be over messaging. And that's going to be a whole myriad of follow-up messages, reach out messages, people you haven't talked to in 20 years, people you don't know. And then the last week is going to be over onboarding and Magic Week. Now, you guys know that on all those topics, we could talk for 2 years on just posting. We could talk for 2 years on just onboarding. So know that we are giving you what we feel is most important, and we hope that you guys will utilize that. With that, reading this book, The 5 Levels of Leadership, I wanted to read something to you guys because I think this is super, super beautiful and super important as we are being reflective of our leadership, as we are a team of men and women who genuinely care about people and who genuinely care about leading a team well. I want to share this with you because it was really impactful for me. If you have not gotten this book, I encourage you to at some point soon, The 5 Levels of Leadership by John Maxwell. He's talking about the law of solid ground. Trust is the foundation of leadership. He says trust is the foundation not only of leadership relationships, but of all relationships. You cannot influence people who don't trust you. You cannot build positive relationships with people if they perceive you negatively. Trust is the glue that holds people together. If people trust you, they will be willing to move upward with you. Without trust, you'll quickly find yourself back down to level 1, which is the very first level of leadership he talks about. So hear that, and people need to trust you. They need to trust that you're going to show up. For me, choosing Tamara to be my upline, I trusted her that she wasn't going to get flaky and just leave if she had a hard day. I trusted her because she was consistent for 4.5 years with me. She was consistent with her sharing. She obviously was consistent in her business growth. So keep that in mind. Build that trust, build that credibility with the people that you love and that you're pursuing and that you would really love to have on your team. The next one is the law of magnetism. Who you are is who you attract. And I hope you hear this because this is really this could be a gut punch. He's talking about studying leadership dynamics since he was a kid and talking about the birds of a feather flock together and that people just tend to go to kind of who they're kind of like. He says, as you gain influence in your department or organization, that can be good news or bad news. If the people who start flocking to you are relational, non-territorial, teachable, and productive, then that is a positive statement about your leadership. If they are positional, closed-minded, and unmotivated, then that reflects negatively on your leadership. If you want to change your team, then change yourself. Again, that could be a gut punch, hearing, okay, people on my team aren't motivated. People on my team are negative. Be reflective in that. See how you're coming off. See how you're loving your people. See how you're taking care of your people, even if you just have one person. So if you want to change your team, then change yourself. Gut punch is super important to be reflective. With that, I'm going to pass it off to one of the company's favorite diamonds, a dear friend of mine, Megan Milakovic. She is somebody that I respect, I trust, I value her leadership. And as you guys know, I'm very particular about who comes and pours into our team. And I feel in much alignment with Megan. And so I'm very, very grateful for us all to hear from Megan. So get your pen and your paper and get ready to take some notes. Go ahead, Meg.
Well, thanks, Em. That was quite the introduction. I'm so honored to be on here tonight and just to be sharing my story and hopefully some helpful tips with you guys. And so I actually love what Em was sharing about because part of my story and some of the meat of what I want to share with you guys tonight completely lines up with what she was sharing about, like really just taking ownership of those changes and things that you want to see. So real quick, I'm just going to backtrack it to the beginning of my story with Plexus. So I am one of those people that was very anti-Plexus. My husband and I used to make fun of it. Alita Langford is one of our very dear friends. But I didn't join her in Plexus until after she was already Emerald and after her husband had unexpectedly passed away. So we knew her before then. But was like, nah, Plexus isn't for us. We just kind of thought she was a little crazy. And my mom actually made a pact with one of her friends that they would never, ever do Plexus. And so fun fact, Alita, my mom, and I all ranked diamond in the same month. And so it's just funny, never say never. Em said she was never going to do this either. And so at the time, I was doing another network marketing company. I wasn't doing it very well, but I was doing it. And it didn't matter how many parties I was throwing in a month. I was only making like $200. And financially, we were not in a good place. My husband had unexpectedly lost his job a year before that. I was 20 weeks pregnant with our second baby. It was the week of my best friend's wedding. and he lost his job. And so really that just kind of sent us into what I call like a series of unfortunate events. And so nothing was making sense at the time. We did not understand why we were in this really difficult place, because we thought he had a really solid job. We had just moved for it. And then all of a sudden, everything came crashing down. And so I hate couponing, you guys, like hate it. And I started couponing like a crazy person because our family needed it. And it was a really difficult time. And so when we started ordering the products, like we could not afford them. But the only thing that got my husband on board was that he knew it was going to help Alita. And so he was like, okay, to support her, like I will do that. But it still took us like 5 months later after she went Emerald to like even be able to order. And so part of that in her story is, I want you guys to know this. My mom and Mai's leg is her primary leg in her business, and we didn't join her till after she was Emerald. So your business can literally change overnight. You just never know. Even when you become a jewel, your business can radically grow and radically change overnight because of the people that will join you. And I was not a very promising prospect. Okay. So I signed up, I ordered the products. I posted a few times on Facebook because Alita was my friend and she asked me to. You guys, it took me 5 months to go silver. Okay. I was not the person that she was looking at thinking, I think she's going to be one of my first diamonds. Like that was not a thought in her mind. And I'm going to tell you right now, there are some people on your team who do not look very promising. And you're asking them to post and you're trying to get them to go silver and share. And they're telling you, not this month. I don't think so. And I tell her, yeah, it's not going to happen. Not going to be this month. I'm sorry. But you know what? She kept following up with me. She kept asking for me to post, kept asking if I was going to find those 3 people. And eventually I did. And the third person was my husband. And right after I went silver, it was convention time. And so Alita was like, you have to come to convention. I was like, I'm already registered for another company's convention. Like I've already bought my stuff. Like I'm registered. Like we can't, look, what am I doing? And so she got me on a phone with Jennifer Leith and they were like, you have to come to convention. Meanwhile, my husband thought that they got money for me going to convention because some companies are like that. And he was like, I don't know about all this. And so I was like going back and forth. I kind of been teetering between which one I was going to do. And I really knew in my heart, I felt Plexus, but it was like, I had just poured all this time and energy into this other thing. And so he was like, you have to make a decision. He said, you have to decide, and whatever you decide, like you have to commit to that. And so I said, you know what? I want to do Plexus. And he said, you have to commit a year for me. And I said, okay, I will do that because I'm someone who starts and stops all the time. And so he was like, if you do this, like if I send you out to Vegas, if you go out and do this, like you have to commit to me that you're going to do this. And I said, okay. So I flew out. It was a week before convention. I flew out to Vegas with my nursing baby. Okay. By myself. At this point, I had never left my children. Okay. So my oldest was at home. He was like 3, I think, 3 or 4. And like the only other time I had left him was for a wedding and when I had his brother. Like that was it. Like I wasn't traveling without the kids. I wasn't doing any of that. And I flew out to Vegas by myself with a baby. Like I want you to hear that. Okay. That was the very first step in doing a lot of crazy things in this business. Sometimes you just have to take that first step that seems insane. And you're like really questioning yourself and your sanity as you're doing it. Like, oh my goodness, why did I fly out here by myself? I'm not good with directions. I had to like get on the buses by myself and, taxi over to the massive hotel that I've never been at that I got lost in several times with my child. And it's just like, I was like, okay, but I'm here and I'm going to listen. I'm going to listen. I'm going to observe. I'm just going to like take it all in. I honestly had no idea what convention really was about or what it could be. I didn't know what convention contest was. I didn't know what all these parties were that they were going to. I just knew I couldn't go to them. And so there were just all of these things. And I remember being there. And I remember standing in the back and I had my baby carrier, my baby all worn and wrapped up and stuff like that. And I'm standing there bouncing him in the back. And I remember all of the top earners for convention contests were standing up there. I think it was when they earned like the Mushiki or one of those crazy trips. And they were standing up there and they were sharing their stories, and they were talking about how, you know, one had 200 friends on Facebook before she got started and she was an introvert. And I'm listening to them talk, and I realized that if they could do this, I could do this too, that there was nothing different between what they did and what I did, that I could see myself on that stage. And I made a promise to myself. And I actually made a little graphic, like while I was there, that said like Emerald Convention 2018. I think that I'm really bad with dates, but whatever the next year of convention was, I said, I will come back and I will walk this stage as an Emerald. And you guys, I did it. And I'm not sharing that to like brag or say, way to go, Megan, like you went Emeralds in a year. That's not what I want you to hear from this. I want you to hear that it is, you can do powerful things when you put your mind to it. Okay. So I went to convention and the speaker there was Les Brown. And he told us to watch this video of his every single day for 30 days. And I watched that video he told us to almost every single day for an entire year, you guys. There were a lot of people at that convention who I tell the story to, and they have no clue what video he's talking about, but it radically changed my life because I heard what they were saying and I came home and I applied it and I did something with it. And so I'll send the video over to Em so that she can share with you guys. But it wasn't necessarily so much about what the video was saying. It was the habits that I started to develop and the discipline of watching something every single day. To this day, I will still watch that video at least like once a month. My husband probably watches it at least once a week, because we need to constantly be filling our minds with truth and positivity, because there are so many things that are going to flood your mind and reasons why you are going to doubt yourself and think that you can't do this, right? It might be you bullying yourself, or it might be things that other people say to you. I have had moments where people have made me cry. There have been moments where I've made myself cry because I was not being very kind. And so you have the power to be your biggest cheerleader. You have the power to be your biggest advocate. And you know what? Somebody's not going to be following you around every single day saying, hey, did you watch that video? Hey, did you send your messages? Hey, did you do this? Because they're not going to do that, right? We might have accountability partners. We might have our uplines, our sidelines, people who are coming alongside and who are checking in on us. But when push comes to shove, when it's a really hard day, only you can make that decision to show up for yourself. And that's why you really have to dig down into why you want this. And then you need to put it in front of you every single day. You know, when we visualize something, and we just spend just like 30 seconds a day visualizing, looking at your dream board, you are 80% more likely to accomplish those goals and dreams by spending 30 seconds a day. You guys, that is mind blowing. If we could just harness that. And so that's what I did, right? I changed the screensaver in my phone. I had my new dream board. I had what we were going to do in that year. And I didn't know how I was going to do that. I think that's really important. I was silver. Okay. I had 3 people on my team. At this point, I might have had 4 by the time I went to convention. I didn't know what I was doing. I had no clue, but my belief was through the roof. And whatever you believe you can do, you will be able to do it. Part of our story and what we've been able to do is a phrase that I love to say, and this comes from the video, is that your dreams are possible. And so some of the things that we've done in our business have been to literally show people that you are capable of doing so much more than you ever thought possible. It's why I decided to go Emeralds in a year, because I knew that it was a difficult task, but I wanted to do it because I wanted to show others that they could do it too. You know, when we went Diamond, we actually double ranked Sapphire and Diamond in the same month. There's like less than 10 people in the company who have ever done that. And honestly, it seemed impossible at the time. But what we were able to do, because we believed that it was possible, and then we matched that belief with hard work. Sometimes you guys might have that belief inside and you're like, I really want this and I believe that I can do it, but then your work ethic does not match that belief, right? I always encourage people, dream big, dream to do the impossible, but then be prepared to work, be prepared to actually do the things that it is going to take to get there, especially when you don't feel like it. And I think the biggest thing for that month when we were ranking up Diamond was that I didn't have time to let any kind of negative thought derail me. So I was very aware of the thoughts that I was thinking. I was very aware when a negative thought would come in, I'd say, okay, I have to address this. I got to figure this out because I can't spend more than a few minutes on this because I have work to do. I have a mission to accomplish. We have a lot of big things that we need to do. And so self-awareness is really huge in this business. Because we have to know what our triggers are. We have to know what is causing us to think this way. And so those are some of the highlights, right? But I'm going to share with you some of the, I guess we'll call them lowlights, okay? Some of the valleys in my business, like how we went emerald in a year. And then I lost rank for a long time, for like almost a year. Okay. And that's part of my story that I didn't share with people for a very long time because I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. I had imposter syndrome. And I was just like, nobody can know. Nobody can ever know this part of my story. But you know what? That's actually the part of my story that touches way more people than when I share about all of the crazy things that we were able to do and accomplish and all of that. And so in that, the reason that we went backwards, the reason that I hovered under emerald points, the reason we kept going down was because I had some deep-rooted things, some deep-rooted doubts and beliefs that I needed to uncover. And so if you are in a place where you feel like you are stuck or you feel like you are going backwards, I want to encourage you to do some deep inner work. I want you to do some self-reflection. I also, you guys, I am a huge proponent of counseling. I think that it is such a powerful tool to help you uncover things that are going on in your life, but you have to be willing to see it. And so something that I was not looking at, that I was not willing to see, that finally came out during that season was that I believed a lie that you could not be a successful businesswoman and a great mom. Because the truth is, you guys, I never wanted to work. My dream in my whole life, my big wildest dream was to be a stay-at-home mom. When my husband and I got married, I told him that I never wanted a job and that I wanted to stay at home and have babies. And that's exactly what I was doing. And now I'm the primary breadwinner in our family, which is crazy to even think about because I never even wanted a job. And so here I was, an emerald. Now I had a real business. I had a massive organization and I didn't want it, which sounds terrible to say, but I had to show up because I had this business and our family needed it. And there were all of these different kinds of things that I had to work through, all of this head trash of like, I can't be a businesswoman. I can't be a great mom and run this at the same time. But I never would have uncovered that if I wasn't willing to open my eyes and see it. And so I always tell people when you are stuck or you feel like you're going backwards and you say, I just don't know what's holding me back. I don't know what's going on. The truth is you always know what it is, but you're just unwilling to see it. And that can be kind of a harsh reality of like, well, some of you are like, I truly do not know what's going on. No. Your eyes might not be open to it yet, but when you are willing to see it and you are willing to look and you are willing to go there and you are willing to seek counsel from trusted friends and trusted sidelines and different things like that, and you're willing to sit there and you're willing to really just look down deep and figure out, why is this bothering me so much? What is going on? Where is this doubt and unbelief truly coming from? Where is this rooted in? Because the things that you believe are going to determine the actions that you take. And so I was not taking the proper actions when I became Emerald because in my mind, I didn't think that I could run that successful business. And so I thought, well, I just 100% have to dedicate it to my kids right now. And I can't be doing my business. I can't be doing all these things. I think there's a lot of us who are scared to have that success. And so we hide behind, well, I have to spend more time with my kids. You guys, I'm the biggest advocate of spending time with your kids and having healthy boundaries. But there are so many times that our families are not going to get to see what is at the end of you staying committed, because you're like, well, I have to do this, I have to do that. Well, I have to, of course I have to, there's a million things as a mom that we can just grab hold of. Well, I have to do laundry, I have to cook, you can do all of those things. You can still show up 100% as mom. You can have really healthy boundaries, but when you have really healthy boundaries, you have to show up 100% when you show up to work. Just like you want to show up 100% for your kids, you have to be that committed to showing up to work and to do those things, you guys. And so I've seen so many people in this journey who have just thrown away the dreams and the goals that they have because they use different things as an excuse, and then they didn't show up when it really mattered. They didn't show up when things got really hard. They didn't do the personal growth when no one was watching. You guys, I had like 2 years of intense personal growth that nobody saw before we double ranked. Nobody was cheering me on with the tons of books that I was reading or the tons of money that I was investing that I really didn't feel like we could have invested into business growth and into different things. I was showing up and I was doing those things and nobody saw it. Okay, that's the unglamorous work of this business that you're going to have to do. The mindset work that I dove into. People are like, well, how do you know so much about mindset? Or how did you even get onto that? Because I fully immersed myself in it, because I knew that if I wanted to take my team to the next level, I would have to go there myself. You can only take people as far as you are. And so if you feel like you're bumping those lids, you guys, grow yourself, because it is the very best investment that you could ever make. And so what happens is during those seasons where nobody sees what you're doing, the compound effect is going to take place. And so you're going to stay committed, you're going to stay consistent. And then when that momentum comes, you are going to ride it sky high. You guys, everybody had a 2020, right? Not everybody grew 4,500 points. In February of that year, we were at 1,700 points. By June of that year, we were at 6,200 points. That didn't happen in those few months. That happened the 2 years before that nobody saw. And so everybody wants to know, like, what's the secret? How do you do these things? It's showing up when you don't feel like showing up. It's investing in your mindset and in your personal growth and reading the books and getting up early and being disciplined with your mind and setting reminders everywhere you go. You guys, I had alarms on my phone when we were going diamond that would go off every 2 hours. That actually, I'll just read them to you because I still have them saved in my phone today because it just is really precious to me. And so I need to actually, I just updated one the other day, my alarm clock that goes off in the morning that says, you are a double diamond. And so it never stops, you guys, it keeps going. And so my alarms, I'd wake up and it would say, you are a diamond. And it would say, you are the master of retention. God can do the impossible. You will add 450 people in May. We actually blew past that month. We will double rank Sapphire Diamond. Your dreams are possible. You guys, going off on my phone every 2 hours so that I would constantly be reminded. What things are you setting up in place to constantly be reminding yourself of the positivity, of your goals, of your dreams? And because I want you to know that they are actually possible. You know, when our kids were on Medicaid and we were drowning in $100,000 in student loan debt, I didn't really see the light at the end of the tunnel. But this is going to make me so emotional. Everything that I have put as a vision on my dream board has come true. And so we keep updating. My husband are like, we got to make a new dream board because all those things have happened. And to look back at that and to literally be able to go check, check, check. We paid off $100,000, you guys. We paid it off in 15 months thanks to Plexus. Our kids got off of Medicaid. And one of the biggest dreams that we had for our family was that we could move out to Tennessee and be close to my parents. And last year we were able to move out and we live right next door. We have a bunch of acres between us, and my kids can walk back and forth to my parents' house, and my parents get to go to their soccer games. And literally, that's what we wanted. We wanted our kids to be close to my parents. We wanted all of that. And at the time, we had no clue how that was ever going to be possible. But we kept dreaming about it. We kept visioning it. We didn't take our eyes off the goal. There were certain things that we had to adjust the timeline, but never the goal. And one of the most recent things, and actually you guys this is going to be news to you because I haven't even shared it on Facebook yet. But one of the other things that we always wanted to do was have a pool. And we just signed a contract that we are going to start breaking ground on a pool in December. And you guys, I can't talk about this without getting emotional, because while it's not about the material things, right? It's not about that at all. But we have always, there's always things that you say that you want in life, right? And there's so many things that you're like, oh, well, like if time and money were not a thing, I would do this, or I would be here, or I would move here, or I would build this pool, or I would go on this vacation, or I would do whatever. You guys, that's actually possible. Like, we are living proof that this is possible. If you are willing to put those goals out there, if you are willing to come back to them and visualize them, if you are willing to do the hard mindset work, if you're willing to show up when you don't feel like it, you guys, it is possible. And maybe it might take you longer than you thought. Right? It might be a longer timeline, and that is okay, but don't give up on what those dreams are that are in your heart, because they're there for a reason. They're there for a reason. And the last thing I would want you guys, we are capable of so much. Okay. The Lord has put so much in our lives and so much in our hearts, and has given every single one of you so many unique gifts and talents. And we spend so much time focusing on the lack and focusing on the talents that we don't have, and the gifts that we don't possess, and the things that our team doesn't have, instead of focusing on what makes you uniquely you. What makes you so special? What do you have to offer to the table, to your team, to other people that nobody else has? And own that and live into that and be proud of that. You guys, don't try and hide. Don't try to take somebody else's story, right? Don't try to think, well, if I was only like so-and-so, or if I only wore hats, or whatever, like we make up these ridiculous things in our head. Okay. Like whatever those things are, wherever your energy, wherever energy goes, like where your mind's going, your energy's going, all these kinds of things, that's what's going to expand. Okay. And so if you're constantly thinking of lack, you know what you're going to get more of? You're going to get more lack. But if you constantly think about the things that you have and the blessings that you have, I think that gratitude is one of the greatest tools that is underutilized. You can literally raise your energy levels, like they can measure energy levels. It is one of the highest energy levels that there is gratitude. So when you're feeling bad about your leadership, or you're feeling bad about your day, or you're feeling bad about your team, and you're starting to wallow in self-pity, I want you to stop, and I want you to say what you're grateful for. And I want you to really focus on those things. I do this with my kids. They start complaining, and I'm like, tell me 3 things you're grateful for. Like, we're not going to do this right now. We're switching. We're training our brains to think positively. Because that's all it is. You're just literally retraining your brain. And so if you are someone, right, who's focusing on the things that you are not very good at, you're just repeating over and over to yourself, and you're making that groove deeper and deeper and deeper in your brain of lies. That's really what it is. It's lies about things that you think you're not good at, or the lack of belief that you have, or whatever. But imagine if you spent as much time focusing and telling yourself all the things that you could do, all of the things that you are capable of, all of those dreams, telling yourself, I am a diamond. I am the master of retention. I'm going to do these things. I'm really good at this. I'm really good at that. There's this app. I haven't used it in a long time, but it just reminded me of it when I was going Emerald. It's called Think Up. And I literally recorded myself like saying really positive things about me, and about what a great leader I was, and about like the Emerald that I was going to be, and when we were going to hit it, and all this kind of stuff. And it puts it to this like music, and it sounds really silly. Okay. It sounds really, be willing to do the silly things. Okay. Sounds ridiculous. And I used to listen to myself on repeat as I was getting ready for the day, as I was going about doing my regular house things, because I constantly needed to infiltrate my brain with that positivity and with those positive thoughts, because I'm naturally a negative person. I think most of us are. I think that if we think about it, like our natural tendency is to go towards the negative. So you have to retrain your brain to go towards the positive. So use those tools that are around you. Use reminders on your phone if you need to. Set up a new dream board. Literally voice record yourself saying positive things about yourself. Write down a list of things that make you a great leader. Write down a list of things that make you unique, that make you amazing, why you're the best leader, why you're the best coach for your team. And this isn't like out of arrogance. This is so that you can truly see how beautiful and incredible you are, because other people can see it, but you have to see it for yourself. I could sit here and tell you till you're blue in the face how incredible and amazing I think you are, but unless you believe it for you, it's not going to make a difference. So that's what I have tonight for you guys. I hope that this was really impactful and really touched you, and that you got some nuggets of wisdom out of it. So thanks so much for having me on, you guys.
Meg, that was so good. If you guys have questions, throw them in the comments. We're probably not going to address a ton of them just because we want to respect everyone's time. But I also want you guys to throw in the comments what stood out to you the most, because yes, Lacey, it was so impactful. Everything that you said was so, it's exact everything I believe. Everything I believe, because gratitude is so magnetic. People want that. And then that changes everything in you, having that attitude of gratitude. We talk about that as a team all of the time. I love so much where you talked about for those 2 years, you may not have been getting all that recognition. You may not have been seeing a lot of growth in your business. Those 2 years, not like 2 days, not 2 months, 2 years of putting in the work without necessarily seeing a lot of fruit. Then when it came time for that momentum to hit, it was just going crazy. And that's what John Maxwell talks about too, when he addresses the graduation. Like he talks about when you graduate, it's not, you've not succeeded when you graduate. Like that's not the ultimate thing. Like you have worked up to that graduation. It wasn't at that moment. It was that the years that you put into that. And that is just exactly what you said, Meg. I really, really loved where you shared, does your work ethic match your dreams? So often in this business, I have seen so many people come in here with huge dreams, but then they don't show up. They're not consistent. They're not building their belief. They're not building their learning, their confidence, their training. They're not doing that. And that's hurting them, because your dreams can only take you so far. You've got to match it with work. And I really loved also where you shared how you have to be prepared to work. Like you can reach your dreams, but you have to be prepared to work. And then when you show up to your work, put in 100%. You don't have to work 24/7. Kanya Carlson was just here. She's on her flight right now back to Arkansas. But we talked about that today on our walk. Like you can do this job part-time, but you can't do it sometime. You can do this job and you can bring in a surgeon's income working part-time hours, but you have to show up. You have to build that trust and be consistent and show your people that you mean what you say and you are here for the long haul. I am sure, all of these people are commenting so much. You have just touched so many lives through this. I'm going to not stop this because I want to go and read through all the messages, but I do know somebody was asking, we'll just let this be the only question. Somebody was asking for mindset. You recommended the Les Brown video, and just to put that on repeat, and Hannah shared that in our threads. So we already have that, but feel free to send it to me too, just so I can make sure it is the exact same one. What other place would you recommend, book, podcast, training, would you recommend for mindset?
Oh man, I feel like there's so many. And what speaks to one person is not going to speak to another person. And so I think being willing to like kind of try out some different people to see what speaks best to you is a really important thing, because like the videos that my husband listens to are a lot harsher than like the videos that I like to listen to. And so, but that's just our personalities. Those are like the different things. The personal growth books he likes to read, I'm like, I cannot read that. I'm so sorry, honey. That's like too much for me. Because that doesn't motivate me. Yes, Kylie was saying, I do actually have a podcast that I started last year, all about mindset for moms. That's like really quick, like 10-minute episodes. You don't have to be in business to get anything out of them, but it is like helpful for business people. But it's just all about mindset. I would say, some of, gosh, I don't even know. I'd have to look. Let me look at some of the books that I have read, because I feel like there's so many. And that's the thing, like constantly be listening to books. I feel like I go through seasons where sometimes I really love listening to podcasts. Sometimes I really love listening to books. And here's another thing. Okay. I'm just going to throw my 2 cents in here about books. Before Plexus, I used to say, I'm not a reader. I can't read. I'm a slow reader. I actually had to take a course my first year in college that was like study skills in reading, because I was so slow, you guys. Okay. And so what I had to do is, that was just an excuse. I was like, well, I just can't read books because I'm just so slow. Right. And then I had children running around. And you can take things like that and you can say, well, I just can't read, or you can find a way around it. And so for me, that came audiobooks. And I can plow through some audiobooks. And if I really love the book, I will buy the hard copy and then I'll read it through again. And then I'll start highlighting them. And that's just kind of like a little pattern that I do. And I'll vet it the first time through the audiobook. But a lot of the books that I have listened to, like I listen to multiple times, because you can always get more out of it. And so even just like with books that you've read, like you can read them again, and in a different season, different things they're going to pop out to you. Just because of what you're looking for, what you're needing in that season. And I think that's why like listening to the same, like YouTube video that I did every day of Les Brown, it wasn't because there was something like necessarily super profound in there. It was just that every day I heard something different that I needed. And he was saying literally the same thing. It's kind of like you can read scripture, right? You can read the same scripture over and over again, but on a certain day or in a certain season, you're going to get something completely out of it. So don't like cross off a book because you've read it before, or, just like you can keep growing, keep reading, keep listening to it. A book that I have recently been reading that I love is Take the Stairs by Roy Vaden. I loved Jenny Allen's book. What's that? Oh, Get Out of Your Head. That's a huge one. That is really, really powerful if you're looking for like biblically based mindset coaching. That, I mean, hands down, it's amazing. Let's see, another book that I love. I do really like the 5-second rule by Mel Robbins. Now she does use language, like that's just the kind of person that she is. So just know that when you're getting into it. But that book like really changed a lot of things for me. The 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, like get up and do all the things. That principle is huge and really, is really powerful. Anything John Maxwell. Anything and everything John Maxwell, I feel like. This is a huge book. I can't believe I forgot about this one. It's called The Big Leap. And what I will preface with it is that like it uses words like the universe and stuff like that. If you just insert the Lord, you're good to go. Okay. But it is a really, really, really powerful book that talks about upper level limits. And that's a huge piece of mindset. And it talks about like asking yourself, like, if when everything's going wrong, you're asking yourself, am I willing to be happy in this moment? Am I willing to be happy? Because so many times we're literally choosing to wallow and say, I'm just not going to be happy right now. Like, and when you can own and recognize that it is a choice, and when things start going awry and you like all this chaos starts happening, I can literally look at my husband and be like, I'm bumping upper level limits. Like, this is what's happening right now. Like things will go really great and we'll get into a fight about something. And I'm like, I know exactly why we just did that. Like, I know why we did that because I can see it. And once your eyes are open to those things, you can't unsee it. It's like the craziest thing. And you can watch people in their lives and you're like, she is hitting upper level limits. I can't tell her that, but I know that's exactly what's happening. Sometimes I can tell people, it depends on our level. But you will start to notice it. So that's a really, I mean, I encourage everyone to read that book and read it again and again and again. I probably read it at least 6 times.
Well, that is awesome. I know that we shared this the other day on one of our calls. If you were not on it and didn't hear it, I'm going to share it again. Genevieve Scory shared with us on our earned call a few weeks ago that she will listen to the same training book podcast 7 times in a row. She said she doesn't have a notepad with her. She might be doing it as she's driving or cooking or taking a shower, but she said as she's listening to it 7 times in a row, it just really like soaks in. And so I encourage you in that. Like, there are a lot of times I hear people say, oh, I don't listen to trainings because I don't have the time to take the notes. I'm busy running all around. Put in an AirPod, whatever those things are called, while you're working, and just, or, vacuuming, cleaning, whatever, and just repeat. Okay. Well, you guys, thank you so much for being on. Meg, this was beautiful, amazing. I'm going to get this uploaded to YouTube tonight, so that way you guys can go back. We can all go back and listen and listen and listen. I will share in our thread some of the books and recommendations that Meg shared. And then accountability group girls, we're going to go ahead and skip tonight because it's already 8:15 and all the craziness of social media. We will meet back next week. You guys still put in your points for tonight, though, for showing up. Love you guys all so very much. Participate in the posting challenge this week. Don't forget about the Fall into Healthier challenge happens starting today. So let's go out and have an awesome week. I love you guys. So very grateful for you. Megan, you're amazing. Thank you, friend. Bye, you all.